Hi guys, my name is Nerdy Operator. Today I got a rather interesting video that I wanted to do. We're basically going to be talking about three major characters in the Modern Warfare series of Call of Duty games. We're basically going to be looking at the characters of the original trilogy and comparing them to the rebooted Modern Warfare, and kind of just like ponder on where they might go with their stories going forward. Anyone who believes that the next Call of Duty game is indeed going to be a sequel to Modern Warfare 2019, I am one of those people. It's most likely going to be what actually ends up happening, so that's why I kind of decided to make this video. So we're going to start with John Price, and we're going to just like work our way through a couple more characters as we go. I'm not going to really branch this up too much. I'm just going to focus on one character and then go to the next. So I apologize if I reiterate or retell certain things more than once. Alright guys, so let's get into it. Starting off, Captain John Price, callsign Bravo 6, is a British Special Forces sniper and the main protagonist of the original Modern Warfare trilogy. He is a member of the Special Air Service, the British SAS, and has since become the poster child of the Modern Warfare series for a lot of people, always rocking that signature boonie hat of his and sometimes even a cigar. So his background. Not much is known about Price's background past the year of 1996 inside the Modern Warfare story. 1996 is the year in which he attempts to assassinate Imran Zakhaev. So 15 years before the events of the original Modern Warfare took place, he was part of an assassination mission to take out Cold War Soviet arms dealer Imran Zakhaev. He was a lieutenant at the time, and he went in with his commanding officer, Captain Macmillan. The mission did not result in the successful termination of Zakhaev, as Price had only managed to blow off an arm from his sniper shot. However, Price and Macmillan both believed that Zakhaev was done for and there was no chance of survival, and so in the ensuing manhunt they run and narrowly escaped. And so we fast forward to the year 2011, which I believe is the year that the events of Call of Duty 4 take place, in which at this time Captain Price is now a captain in the SAS, and right before you really start anything big in the game, he meets John Soap MacTavish, someone who he would grow very close to and regard as a brother. So Price and Soap go through a number of operations together. They save Nikolai from imprisonment and possible execution from the Russian ultranationalists with the help of some Russian loyalists. And after all is said and done, that's when they start going after Zakhaev. Well, first they wanted to track down Khaled al-Assad because he had just detonated a nuke in the Middle East and killed thousands of American troops. And so after interrogating al-Assad, you come to find out that Zakhaev did indeed survive, and he is the true mastermind of what's going on behind the scenes. And so Price makes it his personal mission to take Zakhaev down once and for all, which eventually leads to him thwarting Zakhaev's attempt to launch nuclear missiles upon the United States. And in the ensuing escape, things took a really nasty turn. They get cornered, and most of the squad, including Gaz and Sergeant Griggs of the Marine Corps, are killed. But before Zakhaev can kill you and Captain Price, because you're playing as Soap in this game, before he can take you out, the Russian loyalists intervene, distracting Zakhaev long enough for John Price to throw a handgun to Soap so Soap can take him out. And at that point, we believe that Captain Price died because we see a paramedic working on him, doing CPR, trying to resuscitate him to no avail, as it so seemed. And then we are going to jump straight to Modern Warfare 2, and then we will go back to some events that took place in between. So in Modern Warfare 2, we do not see Captain Price for about half the game. Once you get to the Gulag, Prisoner 627, that's how Task Force 141 had believed would give you an edge against Makarov. Once you get in there and save him, you realize that Captain Price is indeed alive and well. And so now we're going to talk about Operation Kingfish, which was the first major mission for the 141 to hunt down Vladimir Makarov, the, I guess you could say, successor to Imran Zakhaev. And in that mission, it goes awry. and Price is wounded and left behind. Not necessarily willingly, as Soap tried, after being severely injured, Soap tried to call out to Price, tell him to get in the chopper, and then even Delta Force operator Sandman, who is a character in Modern Warfare 3, tried to halt the helicopter from taking off because Price was out there. However, they were forced to leave, and Price ended up being captured and tossed in the gulag. And so now we're going back to the reunion, and after you escape the gulag, you see that Price not necessarily has changed a whole hell of a lot. He clearly has a lot of hatred towards Makarov, obviously, and rightfully so. And so the first mission you undertake with him, you infiltrate a Russian sub-base, not at the wishes of General Shepard. Captain Price did this against orders. And at first you're kind of thinking Captain Price had gone mad, because what he ends up doing is launching a nuke towards the United States. But what he had actually had done, he had programmed it to detonate above the atmosphere of the planet so that it would result in an EMP. And right now the American forces are just getting hammered. They have no advantage, especially because Russian forces pretty much dominated the sky. The resulting EMP from that nuke destroyed Russian capability in the air and gave the Americans the chance to retake the eastern seaboard. And so after that, that's when the hunt for Makarov reignites. Sadly, it does not go to plan, as you soon learn that Shepard, your commanding officer in the Task Force 141, is actually the true villain of what's going on right now, wanting to paint himself as a war hero and frame, well, I wouldn't say frame, but just put all the blame towards Vladimir Makarov. He was just using it as a means to just, you know, give himself like a blank check, as they say in the game, to do whatever he wanted. And so after you learn of Shepard's betrayal, you and Soap, as the only surviving members of Task Force 141 at that point in time, track him down and eventually kill him. It was a struggle. Price nearly was beaten to death, and Soap was fatally stabbed. But Soap mustered up his strength, pulled the knife out of his body, and threw it at General Shepard's face, ending his nonsense. And so Price takes it upon himself to get Soap help yet again, because Soap just seems to be like a magnet for like near death. And you know, despite Price telling Nikolai it was a one-way trip, Nikolai came back for them anyway, and eventually they were able to nurse Soap back to health with the help of Yuri, another Russian loyalist who used to be an ultranationalist and had his own reasons for wanting Makarov dead. And so after many missions destabilizing Makarov's supply chain, just his whole network, which sadly did not stop a chemical attack in London and most of Europe, you eventually hunt down Makarov to I can't remember if it was Prague. I want to say it was Prague, somewhere in Europe. I can't remember the exact location, to take him out. But that turns out I'm not even sure they actually truly explained how Makarov knew about the attempt, because he knew you were there. He was able to get into your comms, cause an explosion from where you, playing as Yuri, and Soap were posted to take a sniper shot and kill him. Soap is badly injured, and after lugging him through heavy resistance and getting him inside of a bar that was being used as a temporary headquarters, you try to tend to his wounds, but unfortunately Soap dies in Captain Price's arms. And at this point, Captain Price and Soap have become, I guess you could say, blood brothers. They've been through so much, and Price was just devastated, especially when Soap's last words told Price that Makarov knew Yuri. And Price, furious, knocked Yuri down several flights of stairs in anger and demanded answers, at which point Yuri details his background to Price about being close friends with Makarov and being a part of Zakhaev's regime initially, up until as it's revealed in the game, that Makarov was actually the one to set off the nuke in the Middle East in Call of Duty 4. And it was at this point that Yuri had become disillusioned and wanted Makarov dead. He even tried to stop the massacre in the Moscow airport. We all remember the No Russian mission, one of the most controversial things in video game history. He tried to stop it, but he had previously been shot by Makarov because Makarov had learned of his betrayal, and he was left for dead. However, he ended up surviving and would later go on to assist Price, Soap, and Nikolai, and the remnants of 141 in hunting down Makarov. And eventually, convincing Price to trust him just a little bit longer, they eventually corner Makarov after the end of the war between NATO and Russia, especially after they were able to prove that Makarov and General Shepard were the true culprits to everything that had happened. And so the Task Force 141 was reinstated, and they took it upon themselves to find Makarov once and for all and kill him, which they succeeded in doing by using machine guns and heavy Juggernaut armor. However, once they caught up to him, Yuri was badly injured and impaled on a piece of rebar. Price managed to catch up to Makarov to take down his escape chopper, and he tried to crawl to a pistol, tried to take Makarov out, but Makarov got there first. Yuri steps in just in the nick of time. Sadly, he gets executed by Makarov right then and there, and then Price, in a fit of rage, grabs Makarov, beats him, and pushes him through the ceiling glass of the hotel that he was hiding at, which ends with him being hung. And then the original Modern Warfare trilogy story for Price ends with him smoking a cigar as you hear sirens in the background. So Price has a very tumultuous story. Outside of what we experience in the games, there's not really a whole lot to fill in. So there's not really a whole lot left to really talk about when it comes to the original version of Price, other than the fact that he was very loyal to his teammates. He cared very deeply about doing what was right, even if it was against orders, and he went to hell and back for Soap, and it was devastating for him when he could not save him that last time. So now we're going to move on to Simon Ghost Reilly, arguably the coolest Call of Duty character of all time. He's my personal favorite. I love him to death. He's like the Boba Fett of Call of Duty. Like way back, Star Wars fans didn't know a thing about Boba Fett. We didn't know a thing about Ghost until we got the Modern Warfare 2 Ghost comic book. So we're going to be going over some of those details because they actually go pretty in depth about Ghost's backstory. So Lieutenant Simon Reilly, aka Ghost, is a British Special Forces operator and a prominent member of the Task Force 141, known for his iconic skull-patterned balaclava, headset, and dark red glasses. Born in Manchester, England, Reilly had a very traumatic childhood due to a heartless and abusive father, a father who went so far as to force Simon to kiss a snake or be killed with a snake by his father. So he had the choice of kissing a snake or risking death by his father's own hands. Yes, this is really his backstory, guys. It's detailed in the Modern Warfare 2 comic. Ghost has a very, 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 very dark background. Honestly, it was kind of hard for me to read. It really was. Anyway, he also had a younger brother named Tommy, who at night would wear a skull mask to scare Simon. Simon's father, at one time during a concert, forced Simon to laugh at the death of a drug-addicted prostitute. That is some fucked up stuff. I mean, who does that? Like, I couldn't even imagine coming from a household like that. Like, it's crazy. By the time he was an adult, Simon was an apprentice butcher for a profession. However, after the September 11 attacks, he enlisted in the military, and that's really cool. For someone outside of the United States to take it upon themselves to enlist in armed forces after something as traumatic as the September 11 attacks, that is really, really cool. And I know it's happened. But it's just really cool to hear about when it's not just Americans that got inspired to fight for their countries, just when something so heinous happens. So he enlisted in the military after the September 11 attacks, showing such expertise that he was accepted into the British SAS. After 2 years in the military, Simon came back home to a broken household, with his father constantly cheating and beating his wife. And his brother had become addicted to drugs. The house was broken. And so what Simon Reilly decided to do was he opted to fix their lives before he returned to active service. The following year, in 2004, Simon brutally beat his father as penance for his own abuse of his mother and himself when he was a child and forced him to leave the home. After this, he helped his brother Tommy beat his addiction, leading his brother to get married and eventually have a son named Joseph. Yes, Ghost was an uncle. He's good old Unky Ghost. After returning to service, Simon was pulled to participate in the takedown of the Zaragoza, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, the Zaragoza drug cartel headed by one Manuel Roba. When Reilly's team finally made their move, they were betrayed by their CO, resulting in Reilly's capture and torture, which eventually had the effect of driving him mad. At one point, his captors buried him alive and left him for dead. But Simon used this opportunity to his advantage and managed to escape. After 4 months of recovery, Simon still had issues with his anger, resulting in a heated episode with a former colleague named Kevin Sparks. This led Sparks and another colleague of his, Marcus Washington, to murder Simon's entire family. Ghost can't catch a break, guys. He really can't. Simon would later avenge this horrific act by killing Sparks and Washington, and he did so in true Sicario fashion. Merciless. Great stuff right there. He later hunted down and killed Manuel Roba for the atrocities that had been committed by him to himself. This caught the attention of General Shepard, who would then later recruit him into Task Force 141. At one point, Simon, now going by the name of Ghost, was sent on a solo mission against terrorists in a grade school in Ukraine and intentionally got himself captured. He then told his captors and the children of his past before the rest of his team arrived, which resulted in him being freed as well as the children. One girl, before everyone had left, had asked Simon if the story of Ghost was true, and if Reilly himself was in fact Ghost. And Ghost simply responded with, and I quote, "True enough to that lot." So, Ghost's backstory in the original Modern Warfare storyline is really dark, guys. And when we talk about the way he died, if you know his backstory, it's just so sad, guys. Like, he really just could not catch a break. He had probably like one of the worst and most sad, tragic stories of like any character in a video game for me, at least for a game that I had played. So I really, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but I really hope that they do something better for Ghost this time around. Now we're going to talk about Soap. Soap is the deuteragonist of the Modern Warfare trilogy, where he begins as the perpetual FNG of the 22nd SAS Regiment's sniper and demo expert. Not much is known of Soap's early life except that he was born a Roman Catholic and hailed from Scotland. Before joining the SAS, MacTavish served with the 3rd Battalion Parachute Regiment of the British Army with at least one tour in Northern Ireland. And guys, we all know Soap's story, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time going over it. Soap is awesome. It was really sad when he died. We've already talked about that when I was going over Price's story. And to this day, I gotta be honest, guys, that scene makes me cry. Like, Ghost's death was really sad, but when Soap died, oh, I cried. I cried, boys. Boys and girls, I cried so hard. And I really hope we don't have a repeat of that. So, basically, Ghost had probably the most info to go over, mainly just because, like I said, he's like the Boba Fett of Call of Duty. We didn't know anything about him when Modern Warfare 2 came out. We didn't know anything until the Modern Warfare 2 Ghost comic came out, and if you hadn't read it, I highly recommend that you do, just to get the full detail of his childhood, everything leading up to him being recruited into the 141. So now we're going to talk about what we know concerning the reboot. So, the reboot storyline, there's plenty of Easter eggs. You know, they mention the Pripyat mission for Price. When Soap was finally released for Modern Warfare and Warzone, he's still listed as the FNG and a demo expert and a sniper. So, with Price in the rebooted storyline, there's quite a lot of I don't really know how to put it. There's definitely a difference. So when he was still a lieutenant, as we talked about, he was still involved in an assassination attempt on ultranationalist political Imran Zakayev under the command of then Captain Macmillan in Pripyat, Ukraine. And again, the attempt was unsuccessful. And then in 2009, now in the command of Unit Bravo, Price was informed of a Russian chemical lab in Uzbekistan by Commander Karim of the Liberation Force of Uzbekistan. Acting on this, the SAS launched a raid on the facility and eventually helped Farah Karim and her brother escape, giving them the opportunity to start fighting back against General Roman Barkov. And that's really all we have in terms of the rebooted storyline when it comes to John Price's backstory. And so next, we're going to talk about Ghost again. We're just going to go in the same order that we did. And similar to the rebooted John Price, there's not a whole lot to go over in terms of the background. The one thing that they did keep for Ghost was that he was born in Manchester. And, you know, he joined the SAS and spent the majority of his career serving numerous short-term deployments and executing covert assignments in classified locations. Eventually, he was able to become an expert in clandestine tradecraft focused on sabotage, ambushes, infiltrations, all kinds of, like, I guess you could say black op tasks into hazardous areas, and similar to the original Ghost, he concealed his face behind a hallmark skull-figured mask to maintain anonymity in the field. And apparently at one point, Ghost had worked in the same unit as Mace. And then when it comes to Soap, we have nothing regarding Soap, because there was no real story arc involving him whatsoever. He was just added to the game as an operator, and that is it. All we know is his in-game biography, which is, as I read here, the youngest candidate ever to pass SAS selection, Johnny Soap MacTavish, is known as the Perpetual FNG, a label he wears as a badge of honor. A confident, instinctive CQB expert, Soap was handpicked by Price for Task Force 141. And that is all that we have when it comes to the reboot. Now, I am curious as to whether or not we will actually see General Shepard in the future, if they're going to bring back Makarov, Yuri. What about Gary Roach Sanderson? Like, what if they were to bring him back? Like, that would be really cool. What I'm getting at here right now is, like, I'm really excited to see where they take these characters now and how different it's going to be from the original storyline. Because I really hope that Ghost stays alive this time. I really hope that Soap stays alive this time. So, I don't want them to die again, guys, so I really hope they don't do that again. But other than that, I really look forward to the new stories that they come up with for these characters. That's basically all I have. Alright guys, well that's going to be it. Let me know what you thought about this, and I'd love for you to leave me your comments down in the comments section below about what you think that they could possibly do now that the story has been restarted, whether or not we'll see Makarov, Yuri, Roach, all those characters, what they could possibly do with them. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and comments on that, so be sure to leave them down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also like. Hit that bell notification so you can get notified whenever a new video goes live. I put up a new video every Saturday. Again, at the beginning of the video, if you guys want me to do something like this for the Black Ops characters, just to go over their background, their history, the lore, whatever, if you guys would like to see that, let me know down in the comments as well, and I will do that. Thank you so much, guys. This is Nerdy Operator signing off. I hope you have a great day.